My daddy taught me that in life, people are gonna talk down about you, but you gotta stand up. In life, you're gonna face racism and bigotry, but you gotta stand up. But he told me that the greatest calling of all is not to just stand up for yourself, but to remember it was folks that stood for you before you were born. People that stood up and loved you, people that stood up and cared for you. And so your greatest calling in life is not to stand up for yourself, but to stand up for other people.
There's Cory Booker, fiery commencement address at SC State University in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Booker also opened a new campaign office there this weekend because that first Southern primary key to his 2020 strategy. But right now, Booker is well behind Joe Biden and other Democrats in all the early states. So when Karl traveled there on Saturday, he began by asking Booker how he plans to take down the frontrunners.
I'm a former track guy. I get in the blocks. There's a lot of athletes next to me. I don't look at the lane to the right or the left. I run my race. And in many ways, this is a race I feel very confident about, not just here in South Carolina, but New Hampshire, Iowa, and Nevada as well. Because to me, these are races where you're going to have to earn people's votes. We know historically the front runners at this far out are often not the people that end up winning those early primaries.
But Biden's somebody who obviously voted for the free trade agreements. He's somebody who voted for the Iraq war. You know well his record on criminal justice issues. Is that the record of a Democratic standard bearer?
Joe Biden's going to have to defend his record and talk about what he stands for. I plan on focusing on my record, and I'm very proud of that, running to some of our country's toughest problems. I didn't pick an easy way in American politics. Even coming out, when I started working in the nonprofit sector, I went to the toughest neighborhood I could find in Newark, New Jersey, and joined with that community. It's a community I still live in today, and I'm very proud of my neighbors and my neighborhood and what we've accomplished together, doing things other people said couldn't be done.
So you're not going to take on your fellow Democrats? I mean, I hear a reluctance to engage, to criticize.
I can't campaign in a divisive way. I always say you can't campaign wrong and think you're going to govern right. I'm governing to unite this country again, to reignite senses of civic grace, a more courageous empathy for one another, so that we can deal with the persistent injustices in our nation.
And I've heard you say the same thing about Trump. You say you don't want to fight fire with fire. But there was a headline in Politico quoting a local Iowa Democrat leader saying, the Democratic base is angry as hell. Cory Booker's message of love falls flat. Democrats in this country are angry, and they're angry at President Trump. Is your kind of like nice guy approach really in tune with where the base of the party is?
Well,
right
I think you mistake this understanding that to be strong, you don't have to be mean. To be tough, you don't have to be cruel. We're here in South Carolina on a historically black college, historically black university, where some of the greatest strength was shown through civil rights activism, where people didn't raise a fist. We didn't beat Bull Connor by bringing bigger dogs and more powerful hoses. You beat demagogues by expanding the moral imagination of the country, bringing people together to overcome them. Look, I had a guy when I walked into a town hall put his arm around me and said, I want you to punch Trump in the face. And I looked at him and I just smiled and I said, hey man, that's a felony. And us black guys, we don't get away with that often. The reality is Trump wants us to fight him on his turf and his term. He wants to pull our party down. We will not succeed by showing the worst of who we are, but the best of who we are.
So you just outlined a 14-point gun plan on guns that has been called the most ambitious effort to deal with the gun issue of any of the Democratic candidates. How are you going to get this done?
Well, the first way you get this done is stop having a debate on the corporate gun lobby's terms. They've been forming this debate and telling us what we can't do. American history is a testimony to doing things people said was impossible. My parents and the folks that I know personally were fighting in the civil rights movement and gave up when Congress couldn't pass civil rights legislation again and again. It failed. The longest filibuster, Strom Thurmond's filibuster against civil rights movement, people thought that was impossible, but they changed the terms of the debate by expanding the moral imagination of this country. Now, I know in the United States of America, in my short time on this planet, 50 years, we've had more people killed by gun violence than every single war combined. From the Revolutionary War through World War I, World War II, Vietnam, all the wars combined, more people killed in the last 50 years by gun violence. That has been normalized. And what have we done? Massacre in a synagogue, we do nothing. Massacre here in South Carolina in a church, we do nothing. Massacre in my mom's city of Las Vegas, we do nothing.
But look at how Obama, after Newtown, he went to try to just get tougher background checks, which is just a fraction of
God,
what
but
you're
you sound like what I encountered when I first took over City Hall as chief executive.
I know, but are you saying Obama didn't try hard enough? I mean, you're looking at a Senate that's going to be every bit as tough as the Senate that Barack Obama faced.
Well, again, when I became mayor of the city of Newark, one of the things I used to not tolerate was people telling me, "Hey, we tried this before and we couldn't get it done." To me,
I'm just asking how you're going to do it.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm telling you right now that
I
what
mean,
you're saying is that, hey, we have carnage in this country, like it's a uniquely American problem, and we can't solve it. I don't accept that at all. When Connecticut did licensing, their shootings dropped, their murders dropped 40%, suicides dropped 15%. These are things that have been tried and done and that work.
So let me ask you about health care. You are a co-sponsor of Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All, but you also say that you don't want to eliminate private health insurance.
I think we
Explain that to me, because his plan eliminates private health insurance.
Well, I support what all Americans, I think, support, which is the idea in the wealthiest nation on the planet Earth, everyone should have access to health care. I think the best way to get there is Medicare for all, and I'm going to work towards that goal.
Okay, so that means ultimately you are fine with eliminating
But
all private health insurance, including what's been negotiated
I've never said
unions?
that, and you know this.
Well, Bernie Sanders' bill does say that there will be no duplicative private health insurance.
And
It's
what
right
I'm going
there.
and what I'm
You're
going to
a
say to you,
co-sponsor.
what I'm going to say to you as president of the United States,
Yes.
the first thing I'm going to do is to dramatically lower costs for Americans and expand insurance and create a glide path towards an eventual goal.
You won't be pushing for Medicare for all in the beginning, the elimination of
I'm
private.
going to be pushing on a pathway towards getting to everyone having coverage. And part of that is going to be Medicare for all who want it. We could create a really good public option.
Medicare for all who want it is not Medicare for all. It's Medicare, that's called the public option.
Again,
it's not for all.
As I'm telling you, I have a clear goal in mind that I share with all Americans. Healthcare is a right. I think the best way to get there is Medicare for all. I'm also a realist. As a former mayor who got things done, who knows that you can't hold progress hostage for some purity.
So I want to ask Chris Hughes, who helped co-found Facebook, has now come out to say that it should be broken up. He says that it is unprecedented and un-American to have this much power in one company. Where do you stand on breaking up Facebook?
I don't care if it's Facebook, the pharma industry, even the agricultural industry. We've had a problem in America with corporate consolidation that is having really ill effects. And we should have, if I'm president of the United States, I will have a Justice Department that uses antitrust legislation to do the proper investigations and to hold industries accountable for corporate consolidation.
So Elizabeth Warren's already out there saying break up Facebook, break up Google.
But I don't think
break up Amazon.
Right, but I don't think that a president should be running around pointing at companies and saying breaking them up without any kind of process here. It's not me and my own personal opinion about going after folks. That sounds more like a Donald Trump thing to say, like, I'm going to break up you guys. No, we need to create systems and processes.
You just compared Elizabeth Warren to Donald Trump?
I most certainly did not.
Well, that's what she's saying. She's the one that's saying that.
Well, again, let her discuss and debate her positions. I'm telling you right now, we do not need a president that is going to use her own personal beliefs and tell you which companies we should break up. We need a president that's going to enforce antitrust laws in this country, and I will be that person.
And last question, are we going to see Rosario Dawson out on the campaign trail with you?
Right now, I'm looking as I'm running around this country campaigning just to see Rosario Dawson. I was with her a few days ago for her 40th birthday. Happy birthday, honey. And so let us work on our relationship, and we'll deal with the world as we continue to build this incredible love affair.
All right, Senator Booker, thank you. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.